Hi there everyone, Skip the End here, and welcome to my PS4 collection of April 2015. Now this is pretty much a 1 year anniversary of me getting a PS4. I got mine around the end of March, and I've got about 20 games. I had a little bit more than that, but I've traded a couple in because I didn't really think too much of them, and kind of disappointed me a little bit. So anyway, let's get started. The first game, one of my most recent purchases, and that is Bloodborne, developed by From Software, who are famous for making the Dark Souls series, or the Souls series, I should say. And yeah, it's pretty much like those games. It's pretty tough, but very rewarding at the same time. The main difference in this game is that it's not called something Souls, and not just that, but also you don't have like a shield in this game, so you pretty much have to learn how to dodge and how to like stun enemies. You can't like block anymore, really. So it adds a sort of a new dimension to an already great series. So Bloodborne, fantastic game. And another game I bought recently is sort of when I'm playing Bloodborne and I want something a little less intense. I've been playing this, and that's MLB 15 The Show. Now this is my only import buy. I actually got this from GameSeek for £40, and they were very good as well. I only ordered this last Sunday, and I got this day of release, well, in America anyway. And yeah, it's a really interesting game. I've never actually played a baseball game before, so and I was kind of intrigued because a lot of my friends played MLB 14, and they really liked it. So I thought I'd take the plunge and give this one a go, because there's not many games out there at the moment that's really interesting me. So I thought I'd take a shot at this, and yeah, I kind of like it. Sort of reminds me of Tiger Woods when they introduced the analog controls. Next we have Shadow Mordor, or Middle Earth Shadow Mordor. This is a action, for like open world action game, and it has like RPG elements and whatnot. It's very similar to Assassin's Creed, only sort of set in the Lord of the Rings universe. And it's really good, actually. It's not. It's got an interesting sort of nemesis system where you can take out certain orcs, and if they kill you, they grow stronger. And if you kill them, they get taken over by someone else. Or if you sort of like take them down, they run away. They sort of lose their control and power, which I thought was a pretty interesting mechanic. I haven't played too much of this, but from what I've played so far, very good. Next we have Metro Redux. Now this one has Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light. And the interesting thing about this is 2033 also has the Last Light mechanics. So if you weren't a fan of the original game, which I wasn't really, I definitely enjoyed it a lot more with the Last Light, sort of more actiony sort of gameplay mechanics to it. So yeah, it's a pretty good like HD collection, I guess you could say. And yeah, if you've not played these games before, I highly recommend this. It's probably pretty cheap now, so yeah. Next we have Rayman Legends. This is a 2D platformer from Michael Ansel, who also made Beyond Good and Evil. And it's really, really good. I'd say it's probably one of the best modern takes on 2D platformers. Like it reminds me of the classics like Super Mario Bros. 3 or like Yoshi's Island or whatever. And it's really challenging, but again, very rewarding once you beat certain levels. I love the graphical style. I love the sort of music as well. It's all really colourful and really, really fun. If you've got friends as well, because there is a local co-op for up to 4 players. Yeah, that's also pretty good as well. Next we have GTA 5. Now I did play this game on the 360 quite religiously and really enjoyed it. And I wasn't actually going to buy this, but a lot of my friends bought this and wanted to sort of get back into the online segments again. Because we didn't really have a lot to play as far as multiplayer was concerned. So I actually traded a few games in and got like a lot of credit off this. I only paid like £10 for this game in the end. So and yeah, I like it. I mean, it's GTA 5. You know, it's one of the best games ever created, and I will say that the new features added, like the first person mode, does add a new dimension to the campaign, and it kind of makes you want to play through it all again with a different perspective. And you also have the heist DLC as well, which is free to download, and sort of adds a little bit more longevity to the online segments. Next we have Saints Row 4. This is the Saints Row 4 re-elected and Get Out of Hell. Basically, it's the main campaign plus all the DLCs released for Saints Row 4 thus far, plus the latest one, Get Out of Hell. And I really enjoyed Saints Row 4. The whole ability to sort of like fly around and sort of it sort of was less like a GTA clone and sort of went more towards games like Crackdown and Prototype. And I thought that was a good decision because it made the game a hell of a lot more fun and a lot less like a GTA clone, which was good. I've also played Get Out of Hell with a co-op friend, and it's decent, but I feel there was a little bit too many collectibles in the game. So, but other than that, it's a pretty good collection. Next up, I have Plants vs Zombies: Garden Warfare. This is multiplayer only, although you can play split screen co-op in the sort of horde mode, where you sort of plant your garden and trying to protect, as the plant's trying to protect your garden from the zombies. And but it's not just that; it's also online, like competitive multiplayer stuff like Team Deathmatch. This game sort of a version of like rush mode. You have like King of the Hill, like Capture the Flag, or in this case like I don't know, not Capture the Flag. It's sort of like sort of bomb mode from Halo. Only you sort of grab a gnome and sort of plant it at someone's space and wait for it to blow up, and that's pretty entertaining. But you play as like four different plants or four different zombies, each with their own like class type and their own sort of set of skills, and yeah, it's a really fun game. I love the sort of the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously like a lot of competitive multiplayer games do, and I think that's why I find it so fun. So yeah, excellent game. Next up we have The Last of Us Remastered, sort of PS4 remake to the already good PS3 game. And this comes with the main campaign, also comes with the DLC Left Behind, which is like it's sort of own standalone DLC, and also has its own like multiplayer mode. And it's kind of interesting, the multiplayer mode. It's like a sort of meta game where you have all these survivors, and like the more you win and the more kills you make and the more points you earn, the better off your survivors are, and your group keeps growing and growing and growing as you level up, and adds a little bit of a sort of new dimension to multiplayer. It gives you like purpose in actually like continuing on with it. So yeah, and there's obviously the single player is absolute masterpiece from Naughty Dog, makers of Uncharted, Crash Bandicoot, and Jak and Daxter. So yeah, they don't make bad games. So next up we have Infamous First Light. Now this is the standalone DLC for Infamous Second Son, and you play as Fetch, who's one of the characters from that campaign, and it's sort of like a prequel to the events of Infamous Second Son, and she has like neon powers where she can like run really fast, or while she's aiming her like projectiles, she can sort of slow down time, and so you can sort of pinpoint weak spots of certain guards. And yeah, it's not bad. It's a couple of hours long, and the story is okay, but I almost feel that this would have been better had it released before the main game, because being a prequel, you already know what happens after you've beaten the main game, so it's kind of pointless having a story like that. But it's still decent for what it is. So. Next up, we have The Wolf Among Us. Now this is a sort of story-based like narrative game from the makers of The Walking Dead series 1 and 2. Well, actually, it's more of like a point-and-click adventure game, like the classics as well, like Monkey Island, Full Throttle, you know. But this is set in the world of Fables, which is characters like the Big Bad Wolf, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and the like. But given a more sort of darker tone, and it's very it sort of reminds me of games like Heavy Rain and LA Noire, the sort of style of it, and the sort of variety of like shady characters you meet. And for me, I actually preferred this to The Walking Dead season 2. I thought that it gave characters an opportunity to grow and not be killed off like instantly like The Walking Dead season 2. Where it was just like, oh, hello, new character. I'll talk a bit and then die. But yeah, this is definitely their best game that they released from last year. So yeah, Wolf Among Us, fantastic. Next up, we have The Crew. It's a online only open world racing game. This is very similar to games like Need for Speed Underground 2, where you're sort of in an open world. You can sort of modify your cars as much as you want. There's like a sort of story that you can go through and progress with, and there's a lot of side content too. And I kind of like the sort of multiplayer aspect where you can play with up to 4 players and help each other out with missions or side quests, and also go through like America like cross country. So yeah, it's pretty decent. It's not the best game out there, but I kind of wanted a little bit of variety, getting like a racing game, and this is the best one at the time, I thought. Next up, we have Shadow Warrior. This is a remake of the PC game released in the 90s from 3D Realms, and it's kind of like Doom or Duke Nukem 3D cross with that game on the Wii that I can't remember. Red Steel, that's it. Where you use like a sword, and it sort of blends those two elements together. Where it's a little bit more open-ended than a lot of modern like FPS games, and you sort of like wander around finding secrets and whatnot. And visually, it looks okay. It's not like fantastic or anything, but yeah. And I got this for like £15 on sale in game around sort of after Christmas, like New Year's stuff. So yeah, it's not bad. Next up, we have Infamous Second Son. This was the game I actually bought at launch. It sort of came bundled with my PS4, like hence the not to be sold separately sticker there. And yeah, it's really good. It's not as good as I was hoping it to be. I feel that if you've never played an Infamous game before, you'll absolutely love this. If you have, then you'll like it, but not as much as the previous two. You play as Delson Rowe, who's voiced by Troy Baker, who doesn't. I mean, like, who doesn't he do a voice for nowadays? But yeah, the main sort of criticisms is that it felt very compact, and there wasn't as much extra stuff, and not enough variety as there used to be in the previous games. But I do like that there was more than one power. Like in the first two games, you only had like electrical sort of powers. This one you have up to like 3 or 4 different powers. The sort of smoke power that you start with, and then you get like neon powers and a couple of others as well. And yeah, it's a pretty good third-person open like platform event action game, I guess. Next up, we have The Evil Within. This is the limited edition with the sort of special sort of picture there. Now, this is a game created by Tango Gameworks and directed by Shinji Mikami, one of the founding fathers of survival horror with the Resident Evil series. And this game is very similar to Resident Evil 4, although it does, in certain aspects, go back to the roots of like the original sort of 3 Resident Evil games. A lot tougher. Ammo at times, especially early on, is sort of very scarce. Later on, not so much. But yeah, you play as a detective called Sebastian. He has a surname, but I'm not going to pronounce it. And you're trying to find out who's causing these like murders, and you end up going into this fantasy world, which you don't know is like real or fantasy or not. you don't know. I mean, you're not sure if you're sort of in a coma or you've been sucked into this like really sort of messed up place, and yeah, it has some really sort of messed up moments and like really crazy sort of settings, and yeah, it's not bad. I feel that the one disappointment was the ending. It sort of didn't really have a proper conclusion. It was almost like see you for the DLC or see you for like Evil Within 2. But other than that, I did like it. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it to be, though. However, survival horror that did live up to my expectations. Alien Isolation, one of the best games from last year, in my opinion. Creative Assembly, who are more famous for like strategy games. They've never made like a survival horror sort of stealth game before. Certainly not a game like this, anyway. And they absolutely nailed it. For a team like so inexperienced in this genre, they just got so many things right and very few things wrong. The obviously the graphics, the more particularly the aesthetic, it almost feels like you're in the original Alien movie from like the 1980s, sort of late 1970s, and yeah, they got that look absolutely perfect. The sort of tension that you feel, because there's no like checkpoints in this game. It's all like done by sort of manually saving. So if you haven't saved in a while, then and the aliens sort of find you, then you're sort of in a lot of trouble at this point. But yeah, it's a fantastic first-person stealth game that you can sort of play the more sort of actiony route, but trust me, you will die. So I tried to keep that to a minimum playing this game, but it's one of the best experiences I've had so far on the PS4. Next up, Far Cry 4. I like to call this Far Cry 3.5, really. It's still a good game like Far Cry 3 is, but there wasn't really enough to really evolve it as like a proper sequel. It had some like good new features like the grappling hook where you can sort of climb up like mountains and hills, and the gunplay definitely felt a little bit tighter this time. And you can play certain missions in two-player online co-op, which is another nice little feature. Um, but it didn't feel quite like a proper sequel to me. I mean, even like Pagan Min, like the main villain, sort of felt like a rehash of Vars from Far Cry 3. But even so, this game is still fun to play, and I'm still happy that I bought it. I just wish that it was more of a proper sequel than it actually turned out to be. Next up, we have Wolfenstein: The New Order. This is the Occupied Edition. And yeah, much like Shadow Warrior, this is sort of a reboot of the Wolfenstein series, and a pretty damn good one as well. It's weird. It sort of blends the old school feel of games like Doom, Wolfenstein, the original Wolfenstein, and like Duke Nukem 3D and whatever, but sort of blends it with like the modern FPSs like Call of Duty. And for whatever reason, I mean, a lot of the times it doesn't work, but in this case, it really did work. And yeah, Machine Games, who developed this game, did a fantastic job with this. And I know there's a standalone DLC coming out later this year, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving that a go. And if it's anything like this, then yeah, I'll definitely be happy. Okay, two games left. First one is Resident Evil Revelations 2. This is the sequel to the original Revelations, only this time you play as Claire Redfield, Barry Burton, one of his daughters, Moira Burton, and Natalia, who's like this kid trapped, who's sort of been sort of trapped on this island, and yeah, this started out as an episodic game. There was 4 main episodes, plus there's also 2 extra episodes, which sort of tie up the loose ends of the story. You also get like a raid mode with like multiplayer and stuff. And and yeah, it's very much like the original Revelations. I actually prefer this to the first one. Because they sorted out the checkpoint system, and also the dodging is a lot better. I would definitely say this is better than Resident Evil 5 and 6, probably combined, because I definitely found it a lot more intense playing this than those games. My only criticism is that the enemy types, they do sort of start to be recycled a bit over the time sort of playing this. However, that's really my only thing I can sort of really complain about, the amount of value for money for this. I mean, I got this for like £27 on Amazon, and the game's probably around 10 plus hours long. So when you compare that to stuff like The Order that came out recently and was only half that time, and plus this has a lot of replay value too. You can definitely see why this is one of my favourite games of this year so far. And finally, probably the best game that I played so far on the PS4, and it's surprising because I'm not a huge fan of the series. And that game is Dragon Age Inquisition, a third-person RPG from the same people who made Mass Effect series, BioWare. Now, I tried to get into the first Dragon Age, but I couldn't get on with the combat. 2 I've not played yet because I want to beat the first one. However, one of my friends absolutely loved this game. It's one of the best. He just did a review on it, and I watched it and I was really impressed by it. So I thought I'd give it a go. I actually got this for Christmas along with Far Cry 4 and the crew. And for me, this was the one I loved the most. I spent like 90 hours. At least 90 hours playing through this game, doing as much side content as I could. Not so much the collectibles, that was one of the drawbacks, that there was too many collectible missions. But the main campaign was good. The companion quests with all the different side characters that you meet and build relationships with along the way is fantastic. And I really felt they sort of blended the first and second game together to make probably one of the best games I've ever played. You know, it's the combat feels a lot better than the first Dragon Age. The story seems to be a lot better than the second one, even though I haven't played the second one, but I've seen a lot of footage of it. And but yeah, this is one of the best games I've played so far on the PS4, and it's definitely worth your money for like at least like 20 hours of like story content plus so much more with the side content as well. So Dragon Age Inquisition, fantastic. Okay, and that's it for my PS4 collection. My sort of first year anniversary, so to speak. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for another video. This is Skip the End signing off. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.